In this beginner guide to firearms hearing protection, I'm going to discuss how to understand NRR and the relationship to decibel reduction, pros and cons of different options of hearing protection, when you might want to consider double hearing protection, and some recommendations for indoor shooting ranges. Welcome to Pork Tactical. NRR, or Noise Reduction Rating, is a measure of the effectiveness of hearing protection to reduce noise levels. So effectively, you can think of this as decibel reduction. So if you see an NRR of 25, it is saying that it can reduce the decibels by 25. In general, when you see a higher value, that indicates greater noise reduction. Pretty simple. However, NRR does not directly equate to the amount of decibel reduction. You actually need to do a bit of a calculation here. So to calculate in best case scenario, you take the decibel exposure and you subtract NRR minus 7. So as an example, if the rated NRR on the device is 25, then you take 25 minus 7. So your protection then would be 18 decibels. So as an example, a 5.56 is on average about 160 decibels. So an NRR of 25 reduces that only down to 142. Now remember, this is best case scenario. What OSHA actually recommends is then subtracting a further 50% to account for real world scenarios. So in reality, the OSHA recommended calculation is decibel exposure minus NRR minus 7 divided by 2. So an example, again, if we go with an NRR of 25, your decibel protection is 9. So in this case, 5.56, again, being on average of 160 decibels, an NRR of 25 reduces that down to 151. So it is not even close to a 1-to-1 reduction. The reality is that the actual reduction will be somewhere in between the best case scenario, in this case 18 decibels, and the OSHA real world scenario of 9 decibels. So if we split the difference and think of it halfway as an average reduction. Broadly speaking, we have two main categories here. We have the in-ear earplugs, and then we have the over-ear earmuffs. Let's talk about the earplugs first. These are very cheap. I think this entire bag of 50 disposable ones was under $10. I got 3 of these Pelotor in-ear reusable ones for $10. And then I believe this Surefire EP4 set, little fancier here, these were maybe $14 on Amazon. You will get a much higher NRR on the in-ear ones. These cheap foam plugs here give you 33 NRR, whereas these reusable ones, I think these give you 26 and these give you 24 respectively. The over-ear ones are nice because these have what is called active earmuffs. And so what this means is they have electronics and microphones and speakers built into them where they amplify safe noises but cut out harmful noises. So if you can carry on a normal conversation to the person next to you, you can hear range instructions when you have these on, but at the same time they will block out harmful noises above a certain decibel range. Now the added benefit of these is that they amplify regular sound louder than what you can hear normally. So that comes in pretty handy if you are hunting or even in a home defense situation. If you put these on, you can hear things in other rooms and across the house in a way that you would not be able to hear them normally. So that's pretty cool. Now, of course, the cons of these are that they're much more expensive. I think this set here was only about $40, but these were about $150. And if you really step it up to like the Sordens, those can be $250 to $350 easily. The other the other bad thing about these earmuffs is they rely on this seal here. So these cups that go on your ear, this is what forms the seal. Now, if you have something in the way like hair or glasses, or if you are shooting a rifle and you do a cheek weld, but you push down and it kind of moves the ear cup, it can reduce the seal, and that will then reduce the amount of protection that you get. So remember, I was talking about those NRR ratings being best case scenario and real world scenario. This the cup and the seal that occurs with these is a big factor in the difference between best case scenario and real world scenario, which is why we use that calculation that I was talking about earlier. The idea of double hearing protection is where you wear in-ear plugs and over-ear muffs at the same time. So why would you want to do this? Well, first and foremost, this gives you the most possible hearing protection. So this actually gives you approximately 5 decibels more protection than the highest NRR number of the combination of things that you're wearing. So as an example, if you have earplugs that give you an NRR of 33, and then you have earmuffs that give you an NRR of 25, what you do is you take the highest number value, which in this case would be 33, and then we do the calculation that I mentioned previously. So in the best world scenario, you minus 7, which would give you a decibel reduction of 26, and then you add 5 to that, which would be then 31. In the OSHA real world scenario, it would be 26 divided by 2, which is 13, plus 5, so that gives you 18. So in this case, it would be, somewhere between 18 and 31. Now, this is the 5 decibel bonus that you get from having dual ear protection. Also, this protects, having the dual protection when you have the in-ear earplugs gives you protection in case your earmuff slips or the seal breaks or something like this. My recommendation is to always use double ear protection. Okay, so now that we understand NRR and the way that you calculate decibel reduction with hearing protection, we understand what our different options are, and we understand the idea of double hearing protection and the 5 decibel bonus that you get from that. Let's talk about indoor ranges. So the question is, are indoor ranges safe or, good to go to from a hearing perspective? Indoor ranges are especially loud and especially dangerous for your hearing. So many indoor ranges allow large caliber rifles and handguns, and you have to understand that the way that sound works is sound bounces around, and most of these indoor shooting ranges have hard concrete walls where the sound waves just bounce around. And since sound is pressure, what can actually happen is the pressure from the sound waves can come into your ears through your nose. And that's really interesting. I did not know that initially. Also, when you're at an indoor shooting range, you are right next to the other person. And this is especially a concern if, again, they are shooting big bore guns And most people that I've experienced at indoor shooting ranges where they allow rifles, they have compensators. And so what that means is that the blast is going to be essentially blown sideways as opposed to downrange. So what do you think happens if you are standing next to that individual in your booth? All of those sound waves and all of that sound pressure comes directly at you. And I tried to look for some quantifiable metrics around what the actual decibel increase indoors as opposed to outdoors, and I wasn't able to find it, but I can just tell you anecdotally that it is crazy how loud these indoor ranges can be, especially if they allow rifles. My recommendation would be to avoid them altogether if you can. I have personally stopped going to indoor ranges for this reason. If you have to go to an indoor range, I would recommend going to one that does not allow, large caliber rifles or large caliber like magnums and things like this. And whatever you do, make sure that you always double up on ear protection. I was actually very surprised visiting multiple indoor gun ranges when I first started shooting that nobody mentioned the idea of double hearing protection to me. I would think as a range operator, you would want to tell people this, but unfortunately, nobody told me. So, thankfully, again, I'm a curious person. I spoke with other people, and they let me know that, that this is definitely something you want to focus on. Okay, that's it for today, and that concludes the beginner's guide to firearm ear protection and hearing safety. I really do hope that this was educational and informative. It took me quite a long time to fully understand these concepts, and I'm hoping that I was able to shortcut it for you. So thanks again. If you like what you see, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the YouTube algorithm, and more importantly, it helps me to know that people enjoy this content, which will continue to grow the channel. So thank you.